Hello everyone, and you join us in North America in Montreal for round 7 of the AOR Season 12 Championship on PS4. My name is Shane, and joining me as ever is Dan.
Thank you, Shane. After a thrilling Monaco race where we saw Nervo tank the lead of this race, we arrive in North America for a race that surely can't live up to that one. But so far, Nervo Tank has been very dominant in this league, taking 3 wins and every single pole position. However, he's absent from today's race, and so this means we'll get a new man on pole for the first time this season. Let's find out who it is in the qualifying comparison.
Welcome to the AOR F1 PS4 qualifying comparison for the Canadian Grand Prix in round 7 of the championship, as we ride on board with Alexukr and B-Colt for their ultimate qualifying lap around this circuit. And as we approach the first 2 corners here, maximum speed as possible through turn 1, trying to attack the curb as much as you can, as we now try and keep it nice and tight on the apex of turn 2, and then crucially trying to pick up some good traction, which both drivers do as we approach the first of 3 chicanes, turns 3 and 4. Very easy to cut the chicane here, so you've got to keep it nice and easy on the apex as we now go through turn 5. Absolutely flat out, and so far Alexukr has a slight lead over B-Colt as we go into turn number 6 and then into turn number 7. Crucial to pick up some traction here on the exit, and B-Colt actually opting for a short shifting method compared to Alexukr as we now prepare ourselves for the second of 3 chicanes here, turns 8 and 9, trying to carry as much speed as possible through here. Alexukr running a much more smoother line, and so far as you can see, Alexukr has extended his gap by about twice the gap that it was in the first freeze frame earlier on in the lap, as we now approach the hairpin of turn 10. And very different lines here as Alexukr goes very wide on the entry and then gets a much more aggressive and straight lined exit compared to B-Colt, who has a much more aggressive entry, very narrow on the apex. We've swung him out very wide on the exit as we now propel ourselves down the back straight, and now this is where you can make or break your lap as we prepare ourselves for the final chicane, and Alexukr making a much better job of B-Colt, who really was quite conservative and actually gets on the grass here, which compromises his traction a little bit on the exit, and ultimately that decides the gap between 1st and 15th place for the grid for the Canadian Grand Prix. But that was a qualifying comparison, and we're now going to hand you back to your normal commentators for coverage of the Canadian Grand Prix and indeed the race.
So Alexukr managed to recover from his heartbreak on the last lap in Monaco to take pole position here in Canada with a lap time of a 1:12.0, taking pole position by over 2 tenths from Alex, who was his closest challenger in qualifying. Jim Aresi takes 3rd, with X-Men Madness taking his best qualifying position to date with 4th. RBOS and Clarkey make up the 3rd row, with 2nd to 6th separated by just over a tenth. It was M4 in 7th, with Big Shot rounding out the 4th row. Jonas also took a very good qualifying position in 9th, with Disimplay rounding out the top 10. Big C was 11th, with Kian not having the best qualifying, and he'll start 12th for tomorrow's race. GR Demon and B-Colt were on the 7th row, with MV Arumin and Theo on the 8th row, with BMU and Mazias being the last of the runners to actually set a lap time in qualifying. Nummer was unable to set a lap, with Dan and Nervo Tank unable to attend today's race. And now it's time for the Canadian Grand Prix.
It's race time here in Canada, and for the first time this season, Dan, we've got rain, and we've got no idea who's going to be the fastest in these conditions, and with Nervo being absent from this race as well, this is really anyone's race to win.
Yeah, Alexukr did look good in qualifying. He looked good for most of the Monaco race as well, for up to 39.5 laps. No, 38.5 laps, sorry. I forgot the amount of laps that Monaco was there for a second, but we're now getting ready for the formation lap. And, well, it's intermediate conditions, and Alex is already off the track before we've even got to turn 1. Things are looking promising already for him.
Yep, and Clarkey is apparently on the Ultra Softs. So, I don't believe he will be on Ultra Softs in these conditions. That might just be a visual glitch we've got there on the screen, sadly, which we did have in Spain as well, with Mayhem Madness being on the soft tyres according to the timing screen, but he was actually on the mediums. So, GG Codemasters on that one. So now back on board with GR Demon at the moment in 13th place, another out of sorts qualifying for him. Alexukr taking the first non-Nervo Tank pole position of the season, as we said, because he is absent from this lobby. And now we've got a replay. This is Alex dropping it immediately straight away off the line, so proving that's not really promising for the race ahead, is it?
No, it's gonna be an interesting starting towards turn 1. There's no safety car in this league. We can't have the FIA doing that, so it's literally all driver skill as we head into turn 1. And, well, hopefully they'll be relatively early on the break. We don't want any big, well, crashes or any controversy at the start of this race. I think a lot of the drivers just hoping to make it through the early laps. But Ali K, I think he's got a point to prove today. He lost it in Monaco on that last lap, and I'm sure he'll be wanting to strike back in this race.
You know what? I'm excited for this. First wet race of the season. I'm actually genuinely looking forward to this. No idea how the conditions are going to play out throughout the rest of the race, but it might just stay stable for the whole race, which I personally would absolutely love, as we've now got the back end of the field forming up in their grid slots. A beautiful camera angle down the straight, and now we've got the, well, waiting for the 5 red lights coming on anytime soon. Here we go. Now on board with Ali K, awaiting the 5 red lights that are coming on now. We've got 4 lights, 5 lights, lights out. Away we go for the Canadian Grand Prix, and the car's sliding their way off to start. The Ferrari, oh, Ali K's going off immediately, gets back on the track, fine though, and now through turn 1, Alex having a look around the outside but can't make it stick, so Ali K maintains first at the moment. We've got Mayhem Madness up to 3rd at the moment, but now we've got the Ferrari on the outside coming back at him through turn 3, now having a look at Alex actually down through the 2nd chicane. It's Aresi in 3rd at the moment, getting back ahead of Mayhem Madness, as we've got the Haas of RBOS following in behind, and M-Thorn as well. There's contact at the chicane, and Mayhem Madness getting through it absolutely fine. Theo, here we are in 15th place, and as far as we can tell, everyone is still pointing the right direction, which is very good to see.
Yeah, it is on board with M1 in P6. Everyone seems to be getting stuck behind Alex here. Ali K already got a decent sized lead. Obviously no DRS assistance in the wet conditions, but still slipstream. And he seems to be ahead of that already.
The Mercedes!
Oh, God! Yeah, that is far too late on the brakes. Don't know who that was, but they have clobbered into a Haas and severely ruined their race. But now back with X-Men Manders getting a good slipstream down in towards the final chicane, looking up the inside of Ferrari, but backs out of that one, and now he's getting under a bit of pressure from the Haas, but he gets a decent exit actually from the final chicane, but I don't think that'll be enough to make a move, and we've already got someone retired in the Sauber.
There was there's yellow flags down at the chicane, so someone might have crashed into the wall of champions. We didn't quite see that there. Hopefully we'll get a replay. There's the Simpler going slowly on the inside as the two Manners go side by side through turn 1. B-Colt trying to hang it around the outside of his teammate, got the inside for 2, and maintains the position, gets well ahead actually through the corner. So here we are now on board with Mayhem Madness in a terrific 4th place. A brilliant qualifying for him in the dry conditions that we had for qualifying, but now he's kind of dropping away from his teammate and the Ferrari in front, and now under threat from RBOS. I think I'm hearing now that it is M-Thorn who got hit by Desimple at the hairpin on the last lap, so I don't know if any action is going to be taken on that. But now going down into the hairpin at turn 10, and the drivers spotting their braking points surprisingly well on the first lap, apart from Desimple obviously. And now coming out of the hairpin, Mayhem Madness gaining a touch, Aresi losing the back end a lot coming out of turn 11, and now down the back straight. DRS isn't enabled yet because it's lap 2, and obviously it's too wet for the DRS at the moment, so now down into the final chicane they go through. There's definitely a train forming up behind Alex now, and Ali K is absolutely romping away.
Yeah, it's interesting to see, because we've known Alex and Ali K pretty good at saving their tyres throughout this season, but, well, M4's off the track at the final chicane, lost a bit of front wing as well. Don't know what's happened there. He seems to be waiting for someone. Don't really know what's happened there, but he's now down to last, and, well, that he has pretty much ruined his race on the first couple of laps. But yeah, as I was saying, Alex may be struggling for tyre temperature. Obviously, he's very good at conserving his tyres, but maybe he needs more of an aggressive style in the wet to try and get some temperature into his tyres. But Ali K seemingly having none of those problems, and he's already got a comfortable lead out front.
You can see like half of the field has absolutely taken off, and the guys back in from like 10th and backwards. Those guys are from 10th and behind are way off these guys in front, as Mayhem Madness takes an interesting route through the chicane. And he's got to be careful he doesn't do that too much, otherwise he will be getting a penalty, and obviously from in-game, and obviously the stewards from the AOR can obviously give him a penalty after the race as well, and perhaps even disqualify him. So he's got to be on the lookout for that one. But yeah, Alex and Aresi have sprinted away from these two guys at the moment, and RBOS is actually now dropping back of them as well. So further down we had M Thorn with that front wing damage. Don't know where that's come from. Hopefully we'll get a replay very soon of what's happened down there. But he had a good start. What started 7th and then got up to 6th ahead of Clarkey, who we can see in the background in 6th place at the moment, not really in his own world. But yeah, that is really disappointing for M Thorn. He was 6th, and then it's bad from worse, bad to worse for him already on that lap 4. But we have a replay of the start.
Yeah, on board with Aresi. Decent qualifying for him in P3 and gets away reasonably well. Loses the rear end though in 4th gear massively. That's where X-Men Madness manages to go past him. But then he hangs it round the outside of turn 2, probably able to take a higher apex speed and therefore stays ahead. Now on board with B Colt down in P14 for his home race. Not a great start for him. He's obviously switched to the cockpit cam. Seemingly he thinks this is going to provide him with more performance, and Jonas in the Sauber gets off to a terrible start. B Colt already up into P12. And this is really hard for him. And then he's on the inside for turn 2. He's got the Williams of Big C on his left, but seems to avoid any carnage. And now this is M4 going into the chicane, and then he just hits from the Mercedes, and well, that is not what we want at the start of the race.
Yep, just a hairpin, by the way, not a chicane.
Yep.
So down into, this is now into the chicane. This is MB Rubin. That is where he's hit the wall. He's gone to the inside. He's broken too late for the final chicane, and in trying to avoid the 3 cars in front, he's just gone straight into the wall. And luckily he ghosted, otherwise that would have been very nasty indeed for him, as Jonas drops it at the hairpin, and M Thorn having to go really slowly to try and avoid him, and thankfully they get away with no damage. What happens now further down this straight, because there's no way. M Thorn is now, okay, B Colt's coming up behind him towards the inside. B Colt has a moment, oh! Okay, so that's where M Thorn loses his front left end plate, locks up the rears and the fronts actually into the chicane, and just completely smashed into the wall.
Yeah, not what you want really, but now on board with Aresi, who's currently all over the back of Alex. I feel like well, I don't know if he's got the pace of Ali K, but he's definitely got the pace to pull away from Alex as we now go down the back straight, pulling into the slipstream of the Red Bull, but just not able to gain enough of an advantage into the chicane. It's interesting to see what sort of wing the drivers are using. They'll have known this rain was coming in qualifying, so but obviously they won't want to have compromised qualifying too much. Sorry, and also they've got very long straights here in Canada. So if they've gone for 2 higher wings, this is definitely going to compromise them in terms of overtaking. And now coming out of turn 2. Oh, the car just squirming to try and find some traction, but there is no way past through this first sector, so Aresi is just going to have to tuck in and hopefully find a way past on the back straight.
It looks like at the moment it stopped raining, so the track does look like it's definitely drying up, so we're going to be seeing dry tyres coming very soon. And on this game, which is a brilliant feature I have to say, there is going to be a massive transition phase from the because it's a lot, the wetter conditions are much slower now on this game. It's going to be very nip and tuck as to which tyre is going to be the best in that transition from wet to dry. And Aresi is so much faster than Alex at the moment. You can see how much he gained on the brakes. Alex understeering wide through the hairpin as Aresi struggles for traction with that 100% differential. I'm not personally wouldn't use 100% in these conditions, but it's his personal preference and it's suiting him at the moment. He's fast with it, so why not use it? Now down to the final chicane, and locks the front right slightly, and still can't find a way past without the DRS usage, of course, at the moment, and just struggling for straight line speed at the moment going down that back straight.
Yeah, and he's probably just have to start getting a bit brave under brakes. We've shown he's definitely got better braking performance, so probably just got to slide it up the inside or somewhere, but obviously not wanting to cause a crash in the early stages of this race. We haven't seen much of Ali K, but for me, he seems to have gone. He's probably already got at least a 5-second advantage. He seems to be setting fastest lap after fastest lap at the first point in this race, so he has definitely got the edge over the field, especially in these intermediate conditions. But now through this chicane, and this is a very difficult traction zone, so God knows what it's like for these drivers in the wet. And Aresi seems to be using much more of the road on exit there. He just seems to have a lot more confidence in these conditions. But Alex isn't doing a bad job. He's in P2, pulling away from P4, who I believe is still ex-Mayor Madness, his teammate. So he's not doing a bad job, and he's definitely going to be getting some points on Nervo Tank.
Aresi's now close and never down. He doesn't go for the move down into the hairpin. So he's now going to try and look to get some bet. You can see Aresi taking a much tighter line through the corner. He's got so much more grip available to him, and he can't use it at the moment. And you know what? I'd actually completely forgot Ali K was still in this race until you mentioned him. And now going down the back straight, we're down in 4th. RBOS is now up to 4th, and the Mayhem Madness has been passed by the Haas car. And Mayhem Madness actually dropping. We've got a pitter there. We've got Mayhem Madness now pitting as well. So this is for dry, surely. So now, what tyres are they going to go? I think that's there's a car in front that might be Ali K.
Oh,
the Red Bull drivers are stacking. They're going onto these soft tyres, so they're going to try and get to the end. We've got a lot of drivers pitting. So now, is this the correct lap to now go onto the dries? We're going to have to see. They're struggling coming out of the pits. Alex is at least, and we've still got people who are out there on the intermediate. So, oh, Alex struggling for traction. Way out of the traction zone of turn 2. Aresi, now Ali K has pitted. And Jonas showing up for a brief moment. Yep, here is Ali K now being half spun at the chicane and the second sector. And he is really struggling for traction. So, have these guys gone too early?
Yeah, Ali K has just lost heaps of time in there. You can see Alex just behind there. That's a big point in this race. It's obviously dependent now on how fast Aresi is going to be on those intermediate tyres, but they seem to be crawling around. That's having the manner of Theo or Bicol, and they didn't have the pace of Ali K only a couple of laps ago, and they are gaining time visibly. So this is surely a very poor call. Look at that understeer around the hairpin, no grip at all, tries to plant the throttle, almost goes into the rear of Bicol. Oh, I don't know which manner it is, but I think that's, yeah, okay, that's Theo. And now we've got the Force India of GR Demon also finding his way past. These are obviously, they're still sort of the same race, but it's been interesting to see how much time they're now losing. And Aresi come out on a set of Ultrasofts. That's an interesting decision, because the Ultrasofts will surely provide him with more grip in these difficult conditions, and I think that's a very good call from the Ferrari driver. And most importantly, I think he's now got the net lead of this race.
Well, it depends how much time Ali K drifting his way through turn 1 is terrific to see, but it's not doing anything for him at the moment. Clarky's gone off on the exit of the pit lane as well. He's really slow on the exit. And now Ali K's being passed by Big C. So the intermediates are still the tyre to be on. And it's interesting to see the strategy choice that the guys on dries have gone for. A lot of people have gone for the softs, and Aresi has gone for the ultra softs. Obviously, as Dan has just said, the ultra softs will provide more grip at this phase, but they're not going to last anywhere as near as much longer as what the softs are going to do. So probably the guys who have come in on the soft tyres are probably going to try to go to the end. Aresi will have another pit stop to make, because they're not going to last another 20 odd laps. And so now it's going to be interesting to see where the guys who are... Alex is down in 11th now. Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see where the rest of the guys who are currently out there on the intermediates funnel out. They might actually be ahead of these guys as Clarky struggles for traction out of the hairpin.
Yeah, I think we're definitely getting to that point now where the dries and the inters are probably working around about the same lap time. So I think that the remaining guys on inters will probably be wanting to hit this lap on the next lap at the very latest. I think there's another car into the pit lane now as Clarky exceeds the track limit. It's very harsh around here, but it loses the rear end massively out to the final chicane. And now we've got an inters runner as a BMU, and I think he's going to be up the inside of turn 1. And yes, so the inters probably a safer compound now at this point. The drives may be faster, but due to the lack of grip there is, it's so easy to make a mistake that he's going to lose you a couple of seconds, that the inters probably are still faster.
Yeah, you can see coming out of that traction zone of turn 2, Beamy just pulled away from him. Here we are on board with RBOS. in a very comfortable first place at the moment, and wanting to go on to intermediates for the next stop. I don't think it's going to work, mate, considering the track conditions at the moment. He's got an 8.9 second lead over second place. He's going to be very close to Aresi, you know, because it's a very short pit lane here. It's only about 15 seconds that you lose in the pit lane around this track, because you miss out the final chicane going into the pits, and then you miss out turn 1 on pit exit as well. So RBS now comes in this lap, so it definitely looks like the dries are coming to the drivers, but obviously now coming into the pit lane, RBS is definitely going to pit for a dry compound, as we are awaiting him to pull into his pit box now. The Haas team do
soft
a very
tyres.
good job onto the soft tyres, so different to what Aresi has done. And I think, was that Aresi going past? It is Aresi going past, so that is now Aresi, as you said, Dan, into the race lead.
That is incredibly close, though. Interesting to see RBOS onto a set of softs. So now we're going to see which strategy was the right one to go on to, because Aresi, do you think another set of ultra softs will get him to the end of the race? I think, yes, yeah, it should do. So I think we're going to see an interesting combination here of the one stop in RBOS, who will surely go to the end on those soft tyres, compared to Aresi, who will have to make another pit stop. But RBOS seems to be very comfortable in these conditions. It's worked out horribly, though, for Ali K. Down in third, lost so much time compared to the leaders. A very poor call. And Kian, who stayed out on those inters like RBOS, that's a brilliant call from him, and he's up to fifth.
He was, wait, I didn't actually realise he was in the race. He was so far back. But yeah, he's now up to fifth. A beautiful strategy call from him. And the guys who were down at the back end of the field have suddenly been promoted into the top 10. Mayhem Madness, who was running 4th at the start of the race and then got down to 5th after RBS passed him, is now down in 11th. And now coming down into the chicane in the middle sector, turn 8 and 9. And Jonas has got M Thorn for company, and Nummer actually going down into the hairpin. 3 abreast, not quite, and Nummer's going down the inside of RBS, and now he's actually tagged him. And now, so that's Nummer's race even more compromised. So Jonas kind of had the right to turn in there, because Nummer, sorry, went for a pretty late move down into the hairpin. DRS is now enabled, obviously, because we're now racing in fully dry conditions. And Thorn has still got the front left wing damage, so I don't know whether or not he changed that to pit stop, or whether he's picked up another bit of front wing damage, but yeah, Thorn, sorry, still running around with that front wing damage. Beacoat down in 17th at the moment, well and truly last in his home race, which is kind of disappointing for him. And yeah, the way this race is, I can't keep up at the moment with how this race is shaking out.
Yeah, it's interesting to see Ali K actually set the fastest lap of the race, and he's on soft tyres. Obviously, the track is getting drier and drier by the second, so obviously Ali K's a bit far behind Resi, so we've got better track conditions. I don't think Ali K's out of this race win just yet. I don't think see. Oh my God, Big Colt is in the wall, front right puncture, or he's just completely fallen off the car, and that is him out of his home Grand Prix, and that is one to forget.
Yeah, that is very disappointing for the homegrown fella in, well, he was in 17th, he was in last by a mile, so I don't think it would have made too much of an impact on his race. But yeah, it's still disappointing to have him out of the race. But nevertheless, now back with Kian, with Alex right behind him. You can see how badly this has worked out for Alex in this phase as well. Another one of those people who stopped very early for the dry tyres, and it's cost him a lot of time. He went from 2nd now down into 6th place, and it's not what he needs at the moment. He's currently 57 points behind Nervo in the championship after Monaco, and this is kind of the race where you want to be, since Nervo is absent, you want to be taking as many points off him as possible. And Alex down in 6th place at the moment is only taking 8 points off of Nervo, so he needs to quickly get past Kian. But Kian, obviously on the ultra softs, is going to be very hard to pass.
Yeah, I think Kian and Resi are the only ones that I can see. And I think Theo went on to a set of super soft tyres. I think one of the only ones in the field to actually do that strategy. So that's interesting to work out. Kian taking a rather interesting line through the hairpin, choosing to take a bit of grass as well. But I think that's Clark in between fourths. It's not worked out horrifically for him, even though I don't know when he could have did a lap later than Ali K. I can't really keep up with the pit stops, but Aresi sets another fastest lap, and those ultra softs are working quite nicely for him now, probably putting a decent gap between him and RBOS, but obviously he will have to make that pit stop at some point in this race.
We'll be seeing a lot of fastest laps for the next couple of laps, I think, as the track continues to get better. And here is Theo. Indeed, it looks like he is on the super softs. So obviously, if this was a fully dry race, the drivers would have had to use the soft tyres no matter what, because that was the mandatory tyre for this track. But now, obviously, because we had a wet start and the drivers started on intermediates, that rule is now out the window. So the drivers can do whatever they want on the dry tyres. So the guys on the ultra softs up front, and obviously Theo here in 7th, can make an extra pit stop and go on to ultra softs or super softs if they want to, and they won't get disqualified or penalised for it. So I think I would have to imagine that the guys on the softs are trying to go to the end, but they will do it. I think the soft tyres will last a distance. I don't think anyone's going to have the tyre wear glitch that we've discussed in previous races. Starting on the intermediates, I would hope they don't have a tyre wear glitch, otherwise that would be something rather special, as Aresi once again sets the fastest lap out front.
Yeah, I think the tyre wear glitch is simply related to a harder compounder starting one, so it's so if you start on the medium compared to the super soft races, you're obviously going to get a much better tyre wear. But here Alex sticking with Keane actually quite well, to say he's on the compound is a 2-step difference, so a lot harder. When we provided him with much grip, he's doing well to hang on to the Renault driver, who's obviously flying the flag for Renault on his own today. He doesn't have his teammate who usually does it very well. And colleague Alex obviously setting green settings, going intense faster than the previous match, showing how much the lap time are currently tumbling. And I think he's quite good on fuel. He's got a lot of extra fuel compared to RBOS early in this race, and he was about -2.5 laps down. But on board at M4, he's in 15th, and his championship is going terribly wrong ever since his win in Russia, pretty much.
Now down into the second sector. Then the times are obviously still coming down at the moment, and as M4 goes 17th, Scotland personal best in the first sector alone, so the times are still coming down. And now through turn 8 and 9 we go. We've got Nummer right behind us at the moment, struggling right in that Williams to match his teammate in recent races, considering he was flying a flag. M4 going massively deep at the hairpin, now tapping the wall on the exit as well. And M4 really struggling this race. I don't know why. He was doing a terrific job, well, on the first lap really, it's gone downhill. And now he's under threat from Nummer, who's got the slipstream and DRS down into the final chicane. And M4 actually comes into the pit. Okay, I didn't expect that. And
I think he wanted to get to a neutral point. I think that's cost him more time than he was probably expecting. So I think
he's just got a drive through.
Okay.
His engineers just said he's got a drive through for speeding in the pit. So and I think, yeah, he's had enough. It's just been a terrible race for him. He's calling it quits. So that's a lot of drivers that have retired already. I think 3 or 4 retirements already. I think we had 19 starters, didn't we? So that's 3 retirements. Not even halfway into the race at the moment, but no safety cars yet, like Monaco. So that's good to see. We'll get to see the true pace of everyone at the moment. Aresi we're on board with at Monaco's commanding this race at the moment, and now we've got the 2 McLarens embroiled in a battle. You have to question where Ali K's pace has gone. In the wet conditions, he was just romping away from the field, unstoppable, and he just let his teammate through. So that is, well, you've got to say fair play to Ali K for letting his teammate through, because he knows his teammate is faster at the moment. But yeah, Ali K's pace has just dropped off massively.
Yeah, I think, well, I thought for certain that he'd probably got this win in the bag in the first few laps. His pace was so impressive, and I think he's feeling probably quite deflated right now, coming out of the pits, just having no grip, losing the lead to Aresi, losing second to RBOS, and now his teammates seem to be pulling away massively from him. I wonder if he got some front wing damage. Obviously we saw him go for that half spin as only a lap after he pitted, so wonder if he got some damage during that. It's quite hard to tell from these broadcast cameras, but he does seem to be struggling just genuinely for pace right now.
I mean, he he let his teammate through about half a lap ago, and already he's pulled out about a second. So that just kind of shows how much Ali K is struggling as he locks up into the final chicane. And very, very quickly, he's going to come under threat from Kian. He's broken away from Alex as those ultra softs have started to come into their window, as the track is pretty much fully dry at the moment. So now Ali K, obviously the guy who finished second in Monaco after leading the Monaco Grand Prix for a very long time, had the race on pretty much under control, and then just ran out of tyres in the end to fight off Nervo, and now struggling for pace at the moment in the dry, and he's just fallen away from the leader massively, who is on the opposite offside that we can't forget. But very soon Aresi's actually going to come into the window where he's going to pit. Well, he has to pit again because there's no way the ultra softs are going to last 20 odd laps. But now down into the hairpin, Ali K's defending and actually just lets Kian through as well. So yeah, Ali K's, I'd say, pretty demotivated to finish this race at the moment.
Yeah, it's very bizarre to see what's happened to him. For me, I'm just genuinely baffled by this. Back to Aresi, yeah. We haven't really seen much of the battle for first. Obviously, not much of a battle going on right now, but I think RVOS will definitely inherit the race lead when Aresi picks around about lap 21, I'm going to guess. That would give him 14 laps to the end on a set of Ultrasoft, so that should be no problems at all. So he's going to be rapid towards that end of the race, but RVOS will have track position, and it's not difficult to overtake around here. So if Aresi is able to cruise up to the back of the Hash driver, I'm sure he'll have no problems in taking the lead back. But Ali K is just, it's genuinely baffling, because he's on the same compound as Clarky and Alex. Alex is gaining a lot of time right now, and yeah, well, I'm very, very confused.
I mean, it could be, he might have perhaps gone for a wet setup. We don't know this information at the moment, sadly, but he could have gone for a wet setup, which might explain why he was so fast at the start of the race. Obviously, more downforce equals more grip, which helps in the wet conditions. But considering now it's fully bone dry, he's going to be really slow down the straights, and there are a lot of those around Canada. So whether that's a factor that is meaning that he's so slow at the moment. But yeah, Aresi is now, well, Ali K is now 15 seconds behind Aresi, so Aresi, if he was to pit, would come out around about here at the moment. So he's got to go a couple more laps if he wants to break ahead of these guys, and it's going to be interesting to see where he funnels out when he does make that pit stop. Kian, obviously on the ultra softs as well, is going to be quite a ways further back, but these group of cars are way ahead of the guys in 7th at the moment. I don't know who is in 7th at the moment, but they are well behind it, and these pretty much, I don't know where Kian's going to funnel out, but yeah, these guys are looking pretty good for a top 5 finish. Obviously it depends where Kian comes out after his final pit stop.
Yeah, interesting to see where it all shakes out towards the end of the race. But he said about Ali K with a wet setup, and he got pole in the dry conditions by 2 tenths. For me, he looked to be so confident, and now he's been completely mugged off by Alex. Alex with a beautiful switchback through the hairpin. I think Ali K locked up, and Alex just got much better traction. Can't work out who's got the DRS though going down the back straight. Looks like Alex has actually got it. So yeah, he does actually. So no way.
It goes from bad to worse for the McLaren, and there's the guy in 7th, and he's coming in. Is he? Yeah, he is coming in. So Ali K going for a really audacious move, just half-heartedly left his car on the inside of Alex, and that was all his own fault, I'm afraid. And he's now suffered the consequences of that, and is coming in for a new set of tyres. What's he going to go on to? It's a set of super softs. So it surprises me a little. I would have thought it would be the ultra softs. I think they do 15 laps around here, no problem. But oh, he's been reset back into the pits, which would indicate that he's had a front wing change, which might explain where some of his pace has gone.
Yeah, that would actually explain a lot. But on board with Aresi, and look at his tyres, 69 and 68% on those rears, showing how much rear degradation there is around this track. especially compared to the fronts, which are I think about mid-30s. But is he going to be going into the pits this lap?
Nope.
No, he carries on. Once again, really pushing those tyres to the limit. And this definitely indicates that he'll be going onto another set of ultra softs. And he wanted to put onto a set of softs, which doesn't really make a lot of sense. But his gap out front is 5.3 seconds over RBOS. So RBOS has definitely got a very good chance of winning this race.
A drive-through for Clarky as well. So
it's
just
falling
gone
apart for the McLaren.
Yes, it really has just fallen apart from the McLarens. They had a great result, 2nd and 3rd last time out in Monaco, and it's just, and he's gone on to softs as well. So it really has just fallen apart for the two McLarens. Clarky's going to have to come in to the pits once again to serve the drive-through penalty, which will put him back another probably 10-12 seconds. And it might be well out of the points as well, as we're now on board with Alex, who seems to be catching back up to Kian as the ultra softs. We saw with Baresi how much the rear tyres were wearing. You need those rear tyres around this track, that's for damn sure. And Alex doing much better on the rear tyres at the moment, because obviously he's on a harder compound. Although that being said, he's not got that much. He's got not that much worse wear on the front tyres compared to Baresi, who now does pit. So he's pitted on lap 22. So your estimate was a little bit out there, Dan. Sorry about that. But now he's going to go on to another set of ultra softs. So he is going to be very rapid towards the end of this race.
Yeah, and I have to say, for Alex, he's not really had very good pace this race, but it's working out okay for him. I think he could be definitely on course for getting P3 in this race. So, yeah, him just maintaining a constant pace has worked out. He was very cautious in those intermediate laps, but with everyone just else making mistakes like we saw in Monaco, it's all working out pretty well for the Red Bull driver.
Okay, so now coming out of the pit lane, he's going to rejoin in 7th, just ahead of Mayhem Madness. That's actually worked quite well for him, as Baresi has come out just in front of Alex. So Baresi's now got, I'd say, about 10 seconds to catch up in about 12 laps, including, at the end of this one, sorry. So that's doable, because the ultra softs, obviously, a new set will be faster, and he's on much softer compound. He's on a much softer compound, so he's going to be very quick at the start of this stint. And if those tyres last on that Ferrari, he's gonna, well, it depends. Let's see what the gap is coming over the line. We'll see in the top left. 10.3, so it's a lot to catch up, but it's definitely doable in these remaining 12 laps. Although RBOS has got some fuel to save, as you can see in the bottom right. He's got some fuel to save. Alex has pitted as well. So from these soft tyres, he's seen what everyone else is doing, and now going on to the ultra softs, and he's going to rejoin in about 6th place, because Kian's going to have track position. He's yeah, he's well ahead Kian, so he's going to rejoin in a comfortable 6th place.
Bizarre to see that a lot of drivers seemingly thinking that they'll be able to get those soft tyres to the end, and it's just not working out well for them. They're clearly feeling that the tyre wear is too high and with risk of puncture at the end of the race, so they've pitted in for a set of new tyres. I wonder if RBOS is going to do the same out front. I think he has already committed, surely, to staying out on those soft tyres. We've now got Beamy, who's up in P7, and I think he's only made the one pit stop onto a set of soft tyres. And is that the McLaren of Clarky just behind him? I wonder if Clarky's already served his drive-through or not.
I don't think he has. We've got the two McLarens line astern there in 8th and 9th. And we did have a little moment of Beamy disconnecting, but thankfully he was able to rejoin and take control of his car again. So that's all fine and hunky-dory, as he's now under threat from that McLaren. Now, it's hard to see which one it is as we go through the hairpin. And Aresi setting the fastest lap, so he's well on his way to try and catch RBOS before the end of this race. And now Beamy is going to come under threat from the two McLarens down the back straight. But they're not going to be close enough into the chicane. No, they're not. So now coming through the last chicane very nice and cleanly for all three of them. And now the McLaren has got another token of DRS down into turn 1 and can't quite make a move there at the moment. So Beamy holding station at the moment, very much struggling now on those soft tyres. And down into turn 3, and there's no move there because in the proximate arrows what's going on behind us. I think someone else is pitted as Beamy's now been promoted up to 6th place. So I wonder, I don't think Clarky can't have served his drive-through penalty yet, because there's no way he should be that close to 6th place at the moment. He should be further back down than that. So I'm pretty sure that Clarky has to come in, I think, at the end of this lap, otherwise he'll get disqualified. And now we've got this massive train funneling up behind him. Beamy's actually lost the back end out of turn 9 and has now let one McLaren through. Is he going to let the other one through into the hairpin? He leaves the space, and I think that is Ali K on the inside who takes it. And now Ali K is going to have better traction. No, I think that's the Mercedes, the Mercedes Beamy going down the back straight now, and now the Williams now coming through of Big C, and he's got the position into the chicane, and he's on the outside as well. Beamy really struggling on those tyres now. He's got to pit, I would say, very soon, and now down into turn 1. They're still going side by side. This is very frantic stuff now. The Williams has got the inside line for turn 2, runs the McLaren out of road, and now the McLaren's now dropped to the back of this queue. So it's all mayhem at the moment, Dan.
Yeah, I can't really keep what's going on. And Clarky stays out again, so he must have served that drive-through penalty. Off camera, we've not seen that because, well, he's clearly showing that the pace he had in the midpoint of that race to get that much of a gap. We've got the manner of Theo trying to get past the Mercedes of Beamy, but in doing that he's compromised himself. We've now got Ali K up the inside into this corner, and that's him back up into P9. And surely Beamy's got to make a pit stop. He cannot get those tyres to the end. Looking by how he's struggling on traction.
RBS is pitted. So he couldn't get those tyres to the end. So now that must guarantee Aresi the race win now, surely. Judging by that gap on the minimap, Aresi must be about 10-12 seconds in front. And now Beamy's still battling with a McLaren going into the final chicane. And yeah, I think that is definitely Ali K with the number 16 car that has just gone past him. So that has cost Ali K a lot of time as he's now up to 8th place. Beamy really struggling his tyres. Okay, so that manner I had a look up the inside and didn't make anything of it. But yeah, Beamy surely has got to pit. He's going to get passed by all of these cars soon. And they've just got so much more grip available. It's kind of like Alonso 2012-esque at the end of the race, where he went long on those tyres and then just got mugged off by everyone at the end of the race. Beamy's struggling for grip at the moment on those tyres, and is now going to come under threat from Mayhem Madness in the Red Bull, and has a look up the inside into turn 8, doesn't make anything of it. Beamy actually leaves room, and now that's compromised him on the exit of turn 9, and Mayhem Madness has got him even before the kink into turn 10.
Yeah, X-Man Madness up in, what, P4 at the start of this race. He's really not had a good race, but he's got back up into the points ahead of the Red Bull team. But now on board with Ali, who's gained a lot of time on key and now on the same compound as the road driver, seemingly having a lot more pace. He's also hit a few laps later than the road driver, so probably got better tyre wear. Now goes outside the chicane, outbrakes him, lovely move into the chicane, clean as you like, and that's the back up into P3.
It's good for Alexukr. Now he has actually dropped away from the back of the Red Bull, so it's worked out quite well for Alex in the second half of this race, and at the moment he'll be taking 15 points out of Nervo's lead, which will reduce the gap down to 42 points. So Nervo's still got a big hefty lead that he can recover from, and obviously, you know, he's got that lead, so he's got a huge buffer. It's still over a race win, as we're now on board with the race leader at the moment, looking to score the full 25 points, which will promote him up to probably 4th or 3rd in the championship. There's still a long way to go though. It's never over until the checkered flag. Still got 7 laps to go, including this one. The gap is now 8.4 between the two guys up front. So RBS is definitely starting to catch Aresi by the looks of the minimap. But whether or not he'll catch that up in time until the end of the race, don't quite know yet. But you've got to imagine that Aresi's got this in the bag.
Yeah, sure. As long as his tyres hold up. Obviously, we don't know the state of his tyre wear right now, but his tyres hold up, and surely got those full 25 points in the bank for Ferrari. But Alex looking good in P3, able to pull away from the rear driver of Kian, and I don't think he'll be catching RBOS very much because RBOS, I believe, has got hitted a few laps later than Alex and will have better tyre life. But now, is this Ali K coming under pressure once again?
Yes.
I think, is it? Oh no, is that Clarkey?
I think that's Ali K coming under threat from Theo now. Ali K went on to the Super Softs, remember, and I think Theo's on the Ultras, so Theo's got a lot more grip available to him, and now is really starting to cost Ali K a lot of time. And now Theo is all over him going into the hairpin. Ali K goes defensive, which is pretty pointless. Theo actually hits the back of him, he was going so slowly, and now struggles for traction on the exit. And now it's allowing Mayhem Madness to get very close to the two in front of him. And now Theo's got the DRS down into the front chicane. I don't think he's close enough to make a move though. No, he is not, so he has to sit and maintain position for now. But obviously he's got the second token of DRS on the exit of the last chicane, and he's actually looking pretty close down into turn 1. Will he have a look up the inside? A slight one, but doesn't make anything of it, and has to sit in behind the McLaren for now. But yeah, Ali K is definitely under pressure, and this is this is probably a race to forget for him at the moment, having had the glory of winning the race and pretty much dominating it through the intermediate stage. You wouldn't think he was dominating it, looking at the position that he is now.
Yeah, it's been a real four-pronged race for Ali K so far this race, but well, he's got to keep scrapping for every point possible. It doesn't know where he's going to get you in the championship at the end of this season, but he's now forming a bit of a train with the manner of Theo, and I believe the Red Bull of X-Men Madness now catching up to the McLaren driver, but into the chicane, into the hairpin, sorry. Don't make that mistake again. They all seem to lock up there. A lot of brake dust flying in the air, but now down the back straight, and well, Theo will have that DRS. Will he be able to gain enough into chicane? Definitely not. Ali K getting good traction actually, coming out of that hairpin now through the final chicane, and yeah, it's looking like the McLaren is able to defend for it now, because I think those super softs will definitely start to be working better than the ultra softs that Theo was on.
So Ali K clearly isn't struggling for straight line speed, as I suggested earlier in the race. I think it was definitely front wing damage that was compromising him through the first, well, for the stage on the soft tyres that he was on. Probably picked up, as Dan said, for the half spin that he had on lap 7, as we now come into that corner where he had that half spin against the side pod of another car, and you can just see how much more rear traction that Theo's got at the moment on those ultra soft tyres, and Ali K parking his car exactly where he needs it at the moment. But yeah, you've got to say this is inevitable really. One of these two cars behind him are going to get past.
Yeah, or Theo will try to get past Ali K, and that'll allow the Red Bull through as well. But now, going down the back straight once again, Theo seems to be a hell of a lot closer, and he'll get that DRS once again as they fly under the Fly Emirates signs, and no, it just doesn't seem to be close enough at all. He won't be wanting to risk it on the brakes, but X-Men Madness goes up the inside by the looks of it. I think he had to go across the chicane now, lose the rear end. But that seems to be a momentary lapse of concentration from the Red Bull driver, and Theo looking up the inside of the car once again, but deciding not to make the move. But I don't know what the Red Bull driver was doing there.
Well, it's alright having a look up the inside, but you've got to commit to it if you're gonna go for like a dive bomb like that. And now Theo looking in a very good position through turn 5. Is he going to get the inside for 6? Yes, he does. Does he make the corner? No, he doesn't. He's gone wide, very wide, and Ali K is back through. And that's allowed Mayhem Madness. Oh, there's contact. They're in the wall. And I don't quite know what happened there. I think Mayhem Madness just lost the back end out of turn 7. And that has cost them both probably a chance of points. Mayhem Madness hasn't got a front wing anymore. And Theo is going to have a very hot set of rear tyres and a very hot-headed mind at the moment.
Yeah, I don't really know what happens there. We'll probably have to see a replay, but they tried to go too wide through that traction zone. I presume one of them just lost the rear end, and they were both into the wall. That's cost them both a lot of time. And X-Men Madness is now having to crawl back to the pit lane with no front wing, and it's not been a good day for him after a very good qualifying session. But yeah, that's cost them both a chance of points, as Mayhem Madness looked to be almost like he was going to carry on for a second there.
Yeah.
But then decides against it and goes into the pit lane. And, well, it's just been a very poor day for him.
It has. He gets caught up in a lot of incidents, sadly. Obviously, he got caught up with the incident with GR Demon last time out. In did he have a stop go? Oh, he's retired. So he's also another person who's just decided to have enough of this race. Back on board with the race leader, Aresi, absolutely commanding this race. But yeah, Mayhem Madness.
There's RBOS.
Yeah, Mayhem Madness. Getting caught up in a lot of incidents this season with Bahrain, obviously with Dan, and in Monaco as well with GR Demon. So he's not got a great history of clean racing. But yeah, as Dan's just pointed out, RBOS getting very close to the race leader. I wonder if Aresi's taking it easy. Big Shot has come out of nowhere and is now up in 5th place, having a very quiet race indeed. And Clarkey must have done his drive-through because otherwise he would have been disqualified by now. So yeah, you've got to imagine it's been a pretty poor day in the office for the two McLarens, considering how good a result they had in Monaco with 2nd and 3rd. Big Shot all over the back of the Renault European coming on the exit of turn 7, now down into turn 8, and this might be a very good result for Ferrari. 4th and 5th last time out in Monaco for those two drivers, and they're looking to get 1st definitely, although I say that RBOS is very close now to Aresi, so he has reeled that Ferrari in very quickly. Aresi making some weird movements down the straight though, and down into the last chicane. Is Aresi beginning to struggle on those rear tyres? We saw how worn his rear tyres were at the end of the last stint before he pitted, so now he's got to be very careful getting on the power. Obviously he could get a puncture as well, which would be absolutely horrible for him. But now, yeah, we've now got a battle for the race win. And on this last lap, what do we think? Can RBOS pull it off?
Yeah, you just see Aresi weaving, unless he thought that was the final lap of the race and it was celebrating his victory. But, well, the Haas driver will have one opportunity down that back straight, and, well, this is an unbelievable performance from the Haas driver. He's gained a hell of a lot of time in this last stint, and Aresi continues to weave, unless he's just pulling back to the racing line there. Don't really know what he's doing, to be honest, but we've got RBOS. He's definitely in that DRS race. It's very close into the hairpin. If he gets a good exit here, he could take the win on the last lap again. Could we see another last lap overtake to take the win of the race?
Here we go, then down the back straight towards the final chicane. RBOS will have the slipstream and the DRS. Aresi's already going defensive towards the final chicane. RBOS goes to the outside. Is he going to pull it off around the outside? No, he can't. Aresi takes the racing line, and for the first time this season, Aresi is going to win the Canadian Grand Prix across the line, and RBOS a close second, and no penalties for either of them, so they maintain that 1st and 2nd. Alex comes home in a very quiet 3rd at the end of the race, and Kian is going to come home in 4th with Big Shot all over the back of him. Big Shot can't quite make it, but it's been a good recovery drive, and a very quiet recovery drive for the Ferrari driver. And now back on board with Clarkey. What could have been for this McLaren driver? Possibly another podium. And now back down the field with BMU and now GR Demon, who's just going to miss out on a point by the looks of it. So still struggling after that race from China. And Disimplay as well are still struggling for after China. He's going to come home in a lonely 14th behind the Williams of Big C, I'm pretty sure that is. And now through the final chicane on the soft tyres. It doesn't matter what compound he's on, he's still going to come home in 14th. This is now a replay of the last lap attempt going down into the final chicane out through turn 12. He's going to have the DRS down into the back straight, but we pretty much already know what's going to happen. He has got no option but to go to the outside. Aresi puts his car nicely on the inside, parks it on the apex, and RBOS has to settle for 2nd on this occasion. But that was quite an enjoyable race, wouldn't you say, Dan?
Yeah, it's shocking to see how much time RBOS was able to gain in that end of the race. Interesting to see what tyre wear Aresi was suffering with, but honestly I don't think we'll see unless he changes his graphic in the bottom right. But obviously celebrate and takes that checkered flag for the first time this season. A big win for Ferrari. Now on board with Theo on lap 32. So he went up the inside of Alexukr, misjudged it slightly, got onto the grass, and then X-Men Madness just came straight across him.
Yeah, I think Mayhem Madness has lost the back end coming out of the turn 7 corner there, and just taken Theo with him, and they've both gone into the barrier. And sadly, that has taken them both out of the points. So at the end of that race then, it is Aresi who takes his first win of the season. And even if RBOS had got past, he still would have finished second because he had 6 seconds worth of time penalties. So a very clean race from Aresi there to take the first victory of the season for himself and Ferrari. Alex coming home in 3rd, followed by Kian and Big Shot. Clarky in 6th after a drive-through penalty as well, so he still recovered in the end. Big C in 7th, a strong result for him, followed by Ali K, another race to forget for him. Jonas in 9th place, more points on the board for Sauber, and BMU rounds out the top 10. GR Demon ends up in 12th place, followed by Disimplay and Nummer. Mayhem Madness was the first of the non-finishers, followed by M-Thorn, Beacle, Mazais and NBA Rubin. And so that does reduce the gap in the Drivers' Championship to 42 points then. Still a tough ask for Alex to come back in the next couple of races. Aresi now goes right up to 3rd from 6th. Terrific result for him. M-Thorn is now shuffled back down to 4th. Kian gets promoted up to 5th as Ali K gets dropped down to 6th. Big Shot now up to 7th. And RBOS now moves up into the top 10. Big C, with his strong points finish, now moves up to 14th, and B Cole, NBA Rubin and BMU get shuffled down a place each. Theo, Mayhem Madness and Nummer round out the Drivers' Championship.
Renault maintained their lead in the Constructors' Championship with a gap slightly reduced by Ferrari, who got a very strong result today. Haas stayed 3rd after that good 2nd place for RBOF, with McLaren staying 4th, slightly extending their gap over Red Bull. Mercedes, Force India, Sauber, Manor and Williams all maintained their places after today's Canadian Grand Prix.
So that's it then for this Canadian Grand Prix of Season 12. Join us again very soon for the Baku City Circuit in Azerbaijan. It's the European Grand Prix. We'll see you there. Goodbye.